And we're live. Hey guys, it's Maymay and my new trusty sidekick,
Melody Lane.
Vince, open the door. What did you say?
Am I trying in for a new model?
You are. I'm using the Melody Lane model today.
I'm hurt.
How is everyone? Everyone's in the chat, chatting it up already. And just as a like precursor to this live, you're going to be staring at, I am moving my screen up and down. You're going to be looking at the screen today because we're going to be talking Design Space 3. And Melody's going to be here to help with questions. You will not see our faces. And the reason we decided is we get a much better screen if our faces are not down here in the bottom. That way, when we're talking about things, you'll be able to see the whole thing. So if you're here and you're only seeing a computer screen, then you're seeing the correct thing. Okay. So use the chat. Vinny did not stay in the room. Melody stayed in the room, and we're going to just basically answer some questions. But first, I'm going to ask Melody some questions real quick and let her answer. Okay. And one is, the first thing I want to ask you is, tell us what is supposed to happen tomorrow with Design Space 3. What should we expect?
As far as I know, when you go to Design Space, if you have an icon or something, they didn't really tell us so much. But okay, when you go to Cricut Design Space, it should automatically change. You will have to download a plugin, I think, if you haven't already. And there'll probably be just sometimes some back-end things. So maybe just download the plugin and install that. And that's really easy to do. It just helps you along. And I will be on Facebook and groups tomorrow too, and watching HSN 24 Hours of Crafts and looking at the Amazon Prime Day and trying to help everybody do this all at the same time.
So
I think it'll be easy.
It shouldn't be difficult. I think that Cricut is real good. I mean, I know people think that there's all these updates all the time and there's all this stuff we have to keep up with and blah, blah, blah. But Cricut is really good about making it easy for us. And I don't think you're going to have a big issue. So
yeah, most of their updates now just happen in the background and you don't even know it.
Exactly, which is really cool because back in the day when they were, learning all this and doing all this new stuff, that was all different. So it's really cool that now they do everything kind of automatic. The other question I have, well, first, Melody, this is a YouTube streaming question. Can I turn it to where when we're talking, it doesn't switch the screen? I'm acting like we're not really,
Click.
I don't know.
Is it changing when I'm talking?
Yeah, and I was trying to lock that so it doesn't.
Click on your name at the bottom, like on your little square.
And it's so wild.
That's what people, I think.
We'll see. I think that
because it's clicking on the live video. It's clicking back to me, and I can see that.
But it should stop in a second because there's a little delay. We'll see. After
whatever you have chosen to show, it will show. So you have to. It has to have a white box around you at the bottom.
I think I got it fixed. Yeah, I think it's fixed. That's so funny. It's like Melody and I were talking. We're like, she's like, this is the same thing we used to do on This Crafty Life Live. I'm like, yeah, but I totally moved all that out of my brain to put new stuff in it. So, I don't remember it. All right, so guys, in the comments, or in the chat, you'll do us a favor and type questions in all caps. We're going to answer questions as it's coming in, as they're coming in. There were a couple questions at the top which we kind of already addressed, except for the question about getting other people. Will this fix the issue with sharing files? I'm not sure what that issue was, and I can't see that question again. So if you had the question about sharing files, put that question in the chat again so we can answer it, because I can't see it now. The answer, though, Jamie answered, this is going to be like Jeopardy. The answer is you will still need a computer to load other saved public files and save them. Then you can access them through your mobile devices. So I'm not really sure what the question was because for some reason YouTube cut that off, but there you go. Okay, the other thing from Mel is this. How much do you love Design Space 3?
Oh, I love it. It's so much faster. I've been doing it in live streaming, and it's fast. And you're doing a video live through YouTube. That takes up internet and that takes up space, but it's still fast while we're doing that.
And I'm nervous about that today. I'm going to be honest with y'all because My internet is never good. I'm in the boonies, y'all. Now I have better internet. I'm at work today, so I have better internet here than at our house. But we're going to see what happens as we go through it. So I got to teach this a little bit in some classes we've had recently. And I've used DS3. You can see I've got some pretty recent projects I've done. And I really, really, look, the fidget spinner I did in DS3, which I learned was probably a bad idea, but I did it there anyway. After the fact, the reason it was a bad idea was because sharing it was not good at the time, but it'll be fine after tomorrow. All right, let's look at a question. Here's a first. Mel, you see that first question from Carol Newman?
Yeah. Do we have to switch to DS3 or can we stay with the current version? You don't have a choice. Tomorrow it will just be Design Space 3. You don't have a choice.
And honestly, guys, don't worry about that. You're going to love DS3. I'm going to show you some features and stuff that I love, and then we're going to let Melody, like as we're going, she's going to be like, hey, show this too, or what have you. You're not going to be left. You're not going to be left behind. There is barely a learning curve. Honestly, it's actually easier. It's more, in my opinion, everything's more on your desktop.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think it's going to be so much easier. So,
and I'm going to ask one question that a lot of people are worried about that have Windows 7. Because they didn't say it would work in 7, but they didn't say Design Space 2 would work in 7 either. And many people are using Design Space 3 with Windows 7 because some people were upset that they have Windows 7, they didn't think it was going to work, and it does work.
Yes, I've heard that too. I saw a post about it too. You might have been the one that posted it. But I wouldn't worry. I think you're going to love it. Let's look at this page. This is the landing page, which it's a new thing for me to call it the landing page because of the address that we've got. So it's your home page. It's the main page. And if you notice up here, it says, you can see my cursor in the top left of the screen and it says home and it's got beta. So that's going to go away. It won't be beta anymore. That's what we're talking about. So, you know, beta, a lot of people don't understand what beta means. This is not something only Cricut does. Everything in the world is done like this. Like, phones have beta apps. I used a beta app for the longest time for our actual app. So it's just a good way to test things out in real time. So that's what beta is. It's just for Cricut to go, you guys play with this, see what happens, and let's get all the little kinks worked out before we bring it to everyone. And then, you know, in essence, force you to use this app. So really, I want to say this as a kudos to Cricut. They don't force us to just, you know, suck up the changes. Like, here's the changes and you got to do it. Instead, they go, we're going to work out the kinks and then let you have it. You know, let you have the whole program once we've done that. I'm sure there's more kinks. I'm sure as more people start to use it, they'll find more things. But I love this program. Anything about beta I didn't cover there, Mel?
I don't think so.
I mean, it's just like a test. The cool thing here, Melody taught me this. I did not know this. This little 3 lines is called the Hamburger. I didn't know that. I love that. I love when I know
that either.
You didn't know it either?
I didn't know it for a long time.
I love it. So you go over here to this little hamburger, and when you click on it, you get this drop down. So at any point when you're in the other, like when you're on your canvas and all that kind of thing, you can get to this and click home, which I think is really cool. You can toggle back and forth. And this canvas, when we click in a second, I'll do some clicking in a second. This is going to take us to our actual map. But check this out. When I do a class, I'm going to basically run this like a class, but I'm going to answer your questions. So when I do a class, I go through every one of these features. I think they're important. This print then cut calibration, this is so important. If you have an issue where your printer is printing an item and then your Cricut is not cutting it correctly, you might need to calibrate it for your printer and Cricut to speak to each other. They don't speak to each other, but for the image on the paper to be where it should be, you might need to calibrate. Now here's what's interesting. I have a friend, Mandy, who does planner stickers, and she was having so much trouble getting her stuff to cut just right. And we discovered that the alignment page that the printer prints out, it was the problem.
Oh yeah.
So what Cricut did, which I thought was awesome, is they sent her an alignment page. Like so she could use an actual clear alignment page, and then it fixed her problem.
Cool.
So I thought that was awesome. She just called customer service and they took care of it because it was so frustrating, but she didn't know that her alignment page was being printed incorrectly. And it was the settings of her printer somehow causing it to do that. It's very weird. So you may have to align. This manage custom materials. This is cool. I'm going to click it. Sometimes I don't click. Like when I'm teaching, I'll go, okay, you don't do this. Just let me do it. Oh, I forgot about my Cricut being in there. So my Cricut is like 4,000 feet across the building, so I may not be able to do that. But you can come right here and manage the custom materials. Like if there's something specific you want to cut, you can come right here and find that or see what's available in there for you and things like that. It's really cool when you're where you can you know, click that, do that, so you can see what it looks like. When you get a new machine, here's where you go to set it up. If for some reason you have, this is exactly how I explained this in class. If for some reason you ever have to do basically like a hard update, you can go right here to the firmware and do that. Your account details, this is really cool to me. If you ever have anything you need to learn about your account, you can even see all the purchases you've made, which is why I'm not going to click on it, because I don't want to like tell everybody how much I spend at Cricut.
Oh my goodness, I spend way too much at Cricut.
Yeah, we're not going to look at Maymay's account today. And then linking cartridges, so easy to link your cartridges. You'll start here with this and it'll walk you through it. Cricut Access is from here. There's other things you can look at. We won't go into every one of these. I just wanted you to see this menu, which I think is so handy, right? Okay, let's go back home. This is my favorite page. What about you, Mel?
Yes. I love the pictures of our projects, for one thing.
I do too. This is basically like your, what do they call it in the airplane? Like the cockpit? Like this, this is the place where you do everything. So you can see up here that you have this scrolling like image bar, and it's right now it's showing you welcome to Design Space. I have a feeling in the future we're going to see the whole welcome to Design Space, but I bet each one of these will be some featured project or something holiday specific, or maybe it might link you to a blog post or a product. I have a feeling they're going to use that for that kind of advertising. You think so?
Yeah, probably.
I'm just guessing.
When there's special sales and stuff.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great, quick place for us to see new stuff at Cricut. This is what Melody was talking about. This is so cool, okay? In the past, to see your projects, you would see them, but they'd be just a list. And if you didn't name them in such a way to where you could go back and find them quickly or know exactly what you're looking for, you might struggle going, oh, what is in that file? Well, no more, because now you can use this little scroll bar and see all of your projects that you've worked on. Isn't that cool? I'm just looking at them. I don't even have to guess what's in there.
It doesn't scroll through all of them, because I've had people ask, not all of mine are showing and they don't know why. But you can click right above there next to where it says my projects, it says view all. So then it'll take you to all of them.
I also wonder, because some of these are really new projects for me. Like I wonder how it might be timeline specific. Like it might be a certain time of projects that show. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it may go back, I don't know, the last so many projects, and then you click
I think it's just your most recent.
So let's click view all. Yeah, most recent. I struggle with the English language.
Well, I do too. People know that if they watch my videos.
They know it about me for sure. So here's all of my videos. Look at all this stuff that I've done. I mean, videos, all of my projects, and they're just photographs so we can just see them. It's amazing. All right, I'm going to go back, because as much as I love that, I also love this. Now, in the past on this page, you could just see all the Make It Now projects and you could search and all that good stuff. What I love that they've done here is they've broken them out. So these are featured projects, which what I love about the featured projects is they're typically things that are either trending or seasonal. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like, how much are these big flowers trending right now?
Yeah.
So this is cool. Again, you can just scroll through here and see, you know, it's perfect for summer projects and things like that. Or if it's winter, then here, what's new. If you guys are like me and you kind of live on Access, and I bet Melody does too.
Yeah.
It's nice to see the new stuff kind of just in a big snapshot. I love it. Oh, look how cute he is. Oh my goodness, look at that raccoon. Cute. Oh, and I want one of these for Christmas. See, I'm getting distracted. Then we have feature artists. This is really cool too, because we're going to get to see, I'm sure they're going to use this for different artists that are working with them over time. Then look, all these little titles lead you to different projects based on the little headings. I think it's awesome. I love this so much. You can still search them. We'll get to that in just a second. Matter of fact, we can go there now. What we're going to do is I'm going to, okay, stop for a second. In the vein of Cricut, the way they always do things, there is always like 5 different ways to get something done. And what I love about this, and I've tried to explain this to people before, this is how I see it. And Melody, you can tell me what you think, but I think because some people are Windows users and some people are Mac users, and Windows users can still do their normal like Windows prompts, and Mac users can do what they're used to. It kind of just fits what your eye leans to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, if you come right here, you still have this plus button. Okay, so you can still start a new project with the plus button if you're used to that. But up here, you can start a new project from up here too. It just kind of makes it easier for you because it's what you're used to, I think. So I'm gonna click on new project, but we're gonna look at some questions before we do it. Do you see any questions we need to answer real quick?
The one question from the beginning we were talking about that you couldn't find, Jamie, let us know. They were questioning about sharing files. Like I share my file links with people from Design Space, and there's some old ones from Design Space 2. And I contacted Cricut about that to make sure I didn't have to change all of those links. And they said any of the links that were shared from Design Space 2 will open up in the new Design Space automatically once it's switched over.
That's very good. I know a lot of people are wondering about that. I'm scrolling back through too. If you come to a question first, just go ahead with it.
Okay. Sheila asked, I know I saw earlier about why do we need to know the pressure when we were talking about the changing the settings and stuff. One reason you could do that, if you have a certain brand of cardstock you use and it doesn't quite cut it deep enough, like it doesn't cut it through because that cardstock is a little thicker, you can change the pressure on a setting or create your own setting with the pressure just a little bit deeper.
Which is really cool because you can save that setting you create, and then you know when you go in to make your project what paper you're using. I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's a good question, and it comes from Wendy Sierra. She says, what's better for Mac, Safari, Explorer, Firefox, or Chrome? Now, I want to tell you guys something about these questions we're answering. These are going to be mine and Mel's opinions a lot of times. I mean, if it's a yes or no question, we can show you that, but some of this is going to be opinion. For me, it's Chrome. What do you think, Mel?
I like Chrome too, but it's also, I think, different computers and different things you've downloaded and different plugins you have in different browsers. So if one browser is not working for you, try another browser.
That is 100% true. I will tell you that I never have luck with Safari and Cricut. Those never really loved each other in the past. I've not tried them together in so long I wouldn't know. But I'm a Chrome user anyway.
Yeah,
so
me too.
That's just habit. All right, let's look at another question. Can we use DS3 with older Cricuts? That's from Connie Woods.
Only the Cricut Explorer machines.
If your machine was compatible with Design Space 2 or the current Design Space, then it will be compatible with the new update. That's a good way to look at it. If it was not compatible with this anyway, if you were having to use the Cricut Craft Room software, then no, it will not be compatible. How about Lacey's question? Will iPad users still be able to upload SVG files like we could in DS2?
They never made it possible to do from the iPad. There was a workaround that I think people were doing, and I tried that workaround last week and it didn't work.
The thing is, I guess we should address this here. The online version of Design Space and Design Space 3 are completely different animals when it comes to your mobile devices. They're not this, like, it's hard to explain, but let's look at it like this. The mobile device apps are their own programs. So if anything is updated with them, that's done through that app. It's like what happens online and what happens in that app are totally separate issues. And so this update is not going to affect your apps. If you're an iPad user, if you're an iPhone user, if you're an Android user, this is not going to be like a push update for you. This is only going to be the online. The other question, the SVG files thing, it says we'll still be able to upload SVG files. I think they might be concerned that this will change that. You'll always be able to upload SVGs to the online version.
Yeah.
You see a question?
Viola is asking will there still be a Cricut craft room? I have not heard that there won't be. So that's all I know. I've not heard that they're taking it away.
My opinion is at some point in time it will go away. My opinion, that's just an opinion.
Yeah, I don't know if they're updating it, like if they're updating it with the new cartridges are there.
I don't mean in the next month or two. Here's what I mean by that. Everybody's got to remember this. Like my old iPhone 4, nothing will work on it anymore. You know, it would be useless for me to have it. Or my first iPhone, you know what I'm saying? So after a while, those things kind of have to move forward with new technology. Does that make sense?
Yep. Marcia is asking, in DS2, I was able to make the machine cut twice. Is that still available in DS3? Yes, I think so.
It is. I did it the other day.
Yeah, and you can also just hit the go button again to cut it twice.
That's the only way I do it. I never.
Yeah, me too. I don't do it any other way. But I think in the custom settings, I think you can set it to go twice.
I think so too. But let me say this to anyone who's new. Yes, we're still here. I just have my screen showing, so you see my cursor moving. I do this a lot with vinyl projects, especially. If you cut a project and you're not sure if it cut all the way through, do not unload your project. That's the kicker. Don't unload it. Leave it loaded. If you unload it, this is not going to work. But if you don't unload it, and then you go right over to the little Cricut face, which is the go button, and it won't be blinking, and it won't give you notice. You're just going to do this. Click it, and I usually have to click it twice. Do you, Mel?
Yeah. Yeah. I did that the other night. I'm like, I clicked it, and I started to walk away, and I'm like, it's not cutting. I'm like, oh, I have to click it again.
So click it twice and it will cut exactly what it just cut. But if you unload it and reload it, it will never be right. So I just like to get that. And then, okay, so we'll come back to questions in a second too. Let's look at this screen. How much do you love this screen?
Oh, I love it. Oh, and there's something else. I don't know if you know, Maymay. Click on the button at the very top left of the ruler in that corner. Yeah, right there.
I love this.
Do you know what it does?
You can go to that or that.
Yeah.
I learned it from you. I mean, I'm not going to tell you I didn't. That's how I learned it. So I call it a toggle. And so even though it's not grayed out, which I do not understand why it's not grayed out, but it's not. Even though this little square, it's the same one we had it in our design space too, where we could change it from grid or no grid. Now you get 3 grids.
Yeah, but it used to pop up and say that. So you knew, oh, it's something you can click on. This one, they don't tell you. It's just a surprise.
But I love it because look at this grid. Let me address this too. So in a class I taught recently, I always share my screen on my television for people when I'm teaching a class. And they're like, why have you got so many inches showing? This is because of the resolution of my screen. So and we discovered this by walking around the room and going, oh, everyone's was different. So based on how you have your computer screen or even the shape of the size of your computer screen changes how far out it goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why I have a whole bunch showing, but you can change that by coming down here to your zoom and you can, zoom in and change it to what you want, or you can zoom down this way. That's too much, 100%. Okay, so if you use this little hidden toggle, which is a hidden secret, and you guys learned it today from Melody, you can have inch squares and you can have nothing. I like to do this. I usually start out with these grids, but when I finish a project to kind of stand back and look at it, I'll turn everything off so I can look at it. Yeah, I like to do that. Okay, here's some of my favorite things about this. It's almost like they pulled things out of file folders and put them on our desktop. It's like you don't have to search for things as much anymore. Let's talk about this this menu over here. So the first one, I'm going to skip this new because we're on a new project now, okay? The first one is projects. So this is where you can go to find your projects. No, that's, yeah, you can, where are they at? Hold on, right here in your drop down. So in this little category section, look where everything you can look for here, okay? You've got my projects, featured projects, Cricut Access. It's all broken down for you in these categories, but you can break it down even further by searching something specific. So let's say you have a baby shower coming up and you don't know what you want to make. You just want to get some ideas. So you come up here to the top, and I'm not even going to change the category. I'm just going to type in baby and hit search. Did you see how fast that went?
Yeah.
I mean,
and you're streaming on YouTube.
This is real time streaming. I also have my iPad next to me going in real time. So we're using up some Wi-Fi today. So then I can just come through and go, oh, look, what do I want to make? And be like, oh, this is so cute to make for maybe the mama, or look at this, so cute, right? So you can narrow things down. And I would always narrow it down because you've got, what is it, over 60,000 plus projects or something like that? I can't remember.
I know there's 60,000 plus images.
Yeah, there used to be.
I don't know how many projects.
And then, like, I just love this because you can come through and go, oh, planners? What? Let's look. Yum. I just want to look at all these projects and find something. Look at this monthly printable summer planner. Look how cool this is. And here's something else I love. Okay, so I call this the recipe page. What do you call this, Mel?
Oh, I don't know if I have a name for it.
I've always in class called it the recipe page because it reminds me of that. You can look up here and go, it's an easy project. It's 1 to 2 hours. Now, I tell my students always, if it says 1 to 2 hours, I want you to think 3 to 4. I know that sounds crazy, but 1 to 2 hours is if everything goes perfect and the phone doesn't ring and you don't have to catch an email or whatever in the middle. Don't look at this and go, this took me 4 hours and that said 1 to 2. You still have to put life in there too, you know. So what's cool about the recipe page is if you do want to make this project, you can see the finished size. You can see the materials that you need. And I want to point something out because I actually had somebody ask me this question. They said, this says that I have to have Cricut 12 by 12 light grip adhesive cutting mat. What if I don't have that? You would have a cutting mat, but I'm just saying. When it says Cricut in front of it, you can exchange it with stuff you already have. It doesn't have to be Cricut for the project to work.
And like that says light grip. If you have a standard grip mat, you can still do it.
Use what you got.
Yeah, this is just a suggestion.
That's right. And they may, you know, it may show you different things that say Cricut in front of them, but you can exchange it with what you have. Now, here's your the preparation, the print and the cut, the assembly, but here's what I love down here. See all these images? This is what's going to be used when making this project. And I love that now I'm signed in. That matters. You need to be signed in. And then based on whatever my subscription is or whatever I'm set up, I can see what this project would cost me. And I already have this in my Access. This is in Access. This one is too. It looks like everything is. Well, this is a free image. This is a free image. This one's free. And I've already purchased this font. So I can make this without spending any more money. Does that make sense?
Yep. Now, one thing good too is, like, say they had a butterfly in this project and the butterfly cost $1.99. You can just not use that butterfly. When you get to the canvas, you can delete that and add a butterfly that's in Access or that you own already.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I love about this, let's say you really love this starburst or sunburst background, and you might want to use that on a project later. Do you see right down here where it says the title Sun Overlay? I know this is tiny. Right next to it is the hashtag for it. I'm going to click on this and see if I can open it and see it better. I can't, but I can see it. If I put this into my canvas, I can look at it. Let me find one that you can see. See the little hashtag number there? That's like the index for this image. So if I wanted to get this image later, I could just write this down or save it somewhere, and I know exactly how to find it by putting that in the search bar. I can show you that later when we put an image into. All right. Oh, look, this is a subscription exclusive. I didn't know that. That's cool. All right, I'm going to close out of this. Planner girls, remember that they have this planner category. All right, let's just go back over here and put an image in. So that's how you get to projects from your canvas. Before we go to images, let's look at questions. Anything I need to answer real quick?
Kim has a question. If I use free DS, can I use the files you share? I just want to make it clear that Design Space is free. All forms of Design Space is free. I think she means that she does not subscribe to Cricut Access, where you get to use the free images. And if somebody shares a link and it has any of the images in it, if you don't own them, you can, like we just said with the Make It Nows, you can switch them out, you know, or you can buy just the one image, or you can delete that and just, you know, use maybe the base of the card or something and use that. So
I might have heard this in her question. It might have been, can I only share free images?
Oh yeah, you can share any project you create in Design Space with Cricut images. If you upload an image or upload an SVG, it will not be shareable.
Which is, for us, for people like me that make SVGs, it's been a little difficult, but it's really not, because what I do is I just share my SVG with you, just the clean SVG, or I share the clean PDF or the clean whatever, and then you can use it. It's no big deal. So I see that Betty made the comment, the Cricut looks complicated. That is because we're trying to show you all the things Cricut does. And I learned this when I teach classes. When I have, the cool thing about teaching classes with people in person in my classroom with me is this. We can kind of talk about the things that we're concerned about. When you narrow this down to a project, you know, if you're wanting to make a card, it's so much more simple because you're not looking at all the features at one time. You're just looking at your project. And when we narrow it down like that, it's so simple to use. But we still have to show you all the features, especially on a day like today, when tomorrow this rolls out live and we want you guys to see it. So don't let this video overwhelm you. Just know that there's so many possibilities with it, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's go look at this one. This one is images. I'm gonna click on images. And now it's going a little slower. Let's see how slow it will go, because this is live. And I was worried about doing this at 3:30 because my Wi-Fi slows down in the 3 o'clock hour. Look at there. That wasn't bad. I didn't think it was.
No.
Okay. Here, and this might look complicated, but I like to show you these things because they come in handy over time. Let's say we're going to use this butterfly box. I'm just going to open it, or not open it. I'm just going to click it. When I click it, you notice that this green box goes around it, okay? When that happens, if you look down here at the bottom right hand of the screen where I'm spinning my cursor, there's a little box down here that's got that same image sitting in it. I call this bar the shopping cart because I sometimes will shop through images, and let's say that I'm like, ooh, I like this butterfly. I might want to use it. Then I'm like, but I like this butterfly. I might want to use it, and I click several of them.
I do that too. Otherwise, you can't go back and find it.
Because if I try to, I will never find it, right? If I don't take notes. I'm going to show you another way too. But what happens is it throws it down here into your shopping cart. Here's the cool thing. Let's say I decided I wanted to add something baby. I'm just going to put the word baby in. So I type in the word baby in the search, and it does a search. And I'm thinking, oh, this baby's so cute. And I click it, okay? Notice that it sends it down to my shopping cart as well. So it doesn't delete the stuff from that one page. It carries it over. So now I can go, okay, I want to use the baby. I don't like this blue butterfly. I can hover over it and the red X shows up. I can just click that and it goes away. So now I have a butterfly box, a butterfly, and a baby. And I'm like, okay, those images I want. So I love that I can just kind of hold images until I'm ready. Isn't that cool? I think it is. It may just be me. I'm going to empty them all out because I don't need those. All right, let's go back to no search in image, and let's grab an image. Let's get this one. I saw somebody use this one today. It's a pretty image. So I clicked on this image. If I love the look of this image, can you notice that the look of this butterfly and the look of this butterfly and the look of this butterfly are so different? Let's say I would like to see more images that have this feel to them. If I click the eye, it will open up, or it should. There it goes. It will open up and it will show me the name of this image, the hashtag reference number for this image, and the cartridge that it's on. Now, I love this. because I can then come right here and click Garden Soup, and it will open the Garden Soup cartridge for me. So if I did want images that looked like that one, I can find the whole cartridge for it. I love that. Oh, look at that broccoli. Oh, that, I thought, is that broccoli?
Oh, I thought it was broccoli too.
It is. It says it is.
Is it broccoli?
Yeah, I love it. It's broccoli. I'm going to click it. Look, broccoli.
Yeah, it's broccoli. You could make it a tree, though, too, like a group of trees.
Oh, good, because that
bottom part brown.
Yeah, it's cute. Okay, let's go back. Let's grab that. I'm just arrowing back at this point, and I went too far. Okay, so let me just go back to images. I'm going to grab this butterfly again. I just love to show that. The other cool thing is when I'm teaching a class and I've already prepped everything for it, I will go ahead and take this reference number and write it down. So we never have to search for any images. I just say, okay, here's your image number. And they just put it into the bar and we go straight to the image without searching.
Yeah. Much
easier in a class setting. So here's this butterfly. And
that's a bee, Maymay.
My bad. This is a bee. It's that bee in the title of it. Thank you. This is why we have Melody, to keep me in line. Because I'm bad at this. Okay, here's what I love about this. Look at this top bar, what has just opened up. When I brought an image in, now all of these things that I can do to this image are up here in the top bar. I still have all of these options over here as well. And one thing I want to point out, because tomorrow you might be looking for this. Notice up here we have group, ungroup, duplicate, and delete. These used to be down here. Do you remember this? They switched.
Yeah, they just flipped them.
So now like your weld, attach, flatten, contour, and slice is at the bottom of the screen. It's really not a big deal to me. It's just interesting that there must have been a reason they did that. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
So any questions after we just did that whole image look?
Sheila says she loves how the new contour is. So we'll have to go over that.
I'll show you contour. People don't really know why they need contour, but you do. There's a reason. I'll show you. Let's see. Can you tell us where on the screen? Oh, my bad. I'm trying to sling my arrow around, so if I don't do that, yell at me. Betty says, is the Cricut Air the newest?
The Cricut Air 2 is the newest.
Yeah, the Cricut Air 2.
And somebody else asked, wasn't in all capitals, but I saw, is this the Explorer Air 2? This software is for any Explorer machine, even the original Explorer machine. So this software works with all the machines, all the Explorer machines.
Exactly. When I get ready to, once I built my project, when I get ready to go make it, I can then choose what machine I want to send it to. I happen to have a Cricut Explorer and let's say I have an Air and an Air 2, and I can choose which one I want it to go to at that point. So this really doesn't care what machine I'm using as long as it's compatible. Let me see. Somebody said, can you save a file to your computer from DS3?
No, you can't save anything to your computer.
No, but you can save it in DS3.
Yes, it's saved in the cloud, which is, I really like that. Some people don't like that Design Space is only accessed through the internet, but I love it because I can design on my computer and cut it out from my phone, or I could go visit Maymay and sign into my Design Space and cut it out on her machine.
Yep.
Like I can sign into Design Space anywhere in the world that has Design Space, and I can get to my projects and my images. I don't have to transfer over files or anything. I can just sign in and it's there anywhere.
I was in a classroom the other day, we were teaching, and somebody wanted a project that I had made for myself. And I said, oh, you can do it. And she was like, oh, I can't. And I couldn't share the file because it was an SVG I'd created. So I went to her computer and signed in. We made the adjustments and she cut it on her own Cricut. You know,
yeah.
It was really cool. I mean, not that that saved a bunch of time. We were together, but it did save time because we didn't have to build it in hers. I could just sign in and do it.
Yeah.
All right. I also saw, how useful is having Cricut access?
I think it's really useful.
I do too.
And besides the images, for what you're going to say, I like the discount. The 10% off everything you buy at Cricut automatically no code, but you can also use it with the codes, and it takes 10% off the sale price. And then our codes take another 15% off.
I love that. I love the access for the images. And Melody knew I was going to say that. Here's the thing. I disliked cartridges. I didn't like the bulkiness of them. I didn't like the shelves we had of them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't enjoy the cartridges. I love that I can just go grab an image of any kind, and I love having it already knowing if it's, in my access, I don't have to pay 99 cents or $1.99 or whatever. And if you go ahead and pay for a year in advance, it's what, $7 something a month?
Yeah.
So it's
really economical.
Pretty Petal said, Maymay, are you only making projects on Cricut Design Space 3 now? As of tomorrow, yes, because that's all you'll have available to you. So I'm going to be doing some projects because, the old stuff will be less appropriate anymore. So I'll be doing some stuff for you guys to see. I've got a couple of projects for Christmas I want to do. But yes, that's what I will be using. And Melody too, because after tomorrow, that's what we have.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Is the newest Cricut easy for the beginner to use? What do you think?
I think so.
I do too. All right. I think we're caught up.
It does take a little time to learn. I don't want new people to think they can just create all these things that people share on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. It takes a little time to learn how to use it. And then once you know how, you can create anything. It's really easy.
Anything. I'm going to show you some stuff we can do with this image because I just like to play with that. But one last question, then I'm going to show you this image. Is there a way we can curve arch letters in DS3?
No, not, well, one letter at a time you can.
The same old way we used to. But if you'll go to Melody's channel, and Mel, if you want to, I don't know if you can put it in the, I don't know if you can find your link to it. She did a video how PicMonkey, which is a software that's online. You do have to have the subscription for it, but guess what? I do because I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I've already had the subscription too.
I love it. And so if you go there, you can curve text right there, and then you can bring it over into Design Space. And I do it with a screenshot. Like I don't save it and download it and upload it and blah, blah. I take a screenshot and then I bring it over, which to me, that's so easy to do. I'll show you guys that too. Not today, another day. I'm going to teach you how to use screenshots. Let's look at this image real quick. So at this point, this image I can do anything with, but I want to show you the buttons. I call these the buttons on the side of the boxes. If there's a technical name, correct me, Mel. I don't know.
Hold on, I lost you.
I just call these buttons.
I think they're called handles.
There we go. Handles. There you go. I don't ever know.
It took me a long time to learn handles.
So each one has a function. There's a couple things I want to show you. One, this one is pretty much delete. You get it. You can delete it from right there. You can rotate with this little guy. Okay. My favorite feature is if you ever rotate it, like if you rotate it like this and you don't like the image, just use the undo to go back to where you were. And I'm going to undo again because I left it in a funny way. Something I like to point out. If there is no box around the image, it is not selected. So if you're sitting here going, why won't this let me align it or arrange it or flip it? See how they're grayed out? It's because the image is not selected. So the Cricut doesn't know what you want to flip or change the size of or what have you. So you do have to select the image. So now I've got it. So go ahead.
When you do the rotate, if you hold down the shift key, it holds it at certain angles, like 90 degrees, and makes it straight and not maybe crooked.
That's right. Here's what she means. If I hover over it, okay, hold down shift before I click. Then when I move it, you see how it's doing in specific increments? It's like locking. That's what she's talking about. So that's really cool. I love that. I love that I can still use my shift key like I do in my normal, things. So have it selected. This little button right here changes the size of the image. But if you have this little button locked, then it's going to change the aspect locked. In other words, it's going to change your height and your width at the same time. If you want this bee to be taller than he is now, but you don't want to change his width, then you want to unlock this just by clicking it. See how it goes to an unlock? Now notice you get a 4-way arrow. So now I can take it and I can stretch it down. I can make it skinny. You probably wouldn't actually do this to the bee. I don't know, you might do that. But that way, I have a lot of people who say, I can't make it do what I want. You got to remember to unlock it if you want to make any changes. I I work with this unlocked all the time. Some people in my classes, I think it's cute. They'll go, okay, I'm gonna lock it back. And that's fine. You can lock it back. All that's going to do is mean if you move it, it's going to move the whole thing. It's not going to lock it where you want it to be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say, oh, I got to lock it back. You really don't. You just know you got it where you want it. Okay, let's go over here. See in the layers panel, this is really cool. I love this right here. Each one of these is a layer of this bee, okay? I'm going to start turning them off by closing the eye that has to do with that particular layer. So this is that peach colored wing. I'm just going to close that eye. So now it won't cut it. It says you don't want that when you've turned that one off. So if I were to cut this guy right now, we'd get just what we're looking at on the screen. I can do the same with every layer. See how we can do this now? I've had people say, why would I want to do that? Truth of the matter is, sometimes you might make a project that you want to come back to later. And maybe for this particular project, you don't want that wing. But when you come back later, you might want it. Instead of deleting that, just turn it off, you know? And then if you want it later, it's there. There's been times I've done that. There's been times I've run into that kind of stuff, you know?
And now in New Design Space 3, you can do the whole image at once without clicking the separate layers.
Oh, that's cool. Right here, I forgot. Look, right there. Watch. Done.
You can't do that in the old one.
Somebody the other day in your video asked about layers, why we would have layers. For those of us that are paper crafters, we love layers because we can cut this in cardstock. Each layer is a separate cardstock color. Then you stack this together and you can get a three-dimensional image. So I love that for paper crafting. Now for print and cut, you'd want to flatten it. You know, you wouldn't want all these layers. You want to flatten it down to print it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's look at this. Let's go to, I'm gonna click this image again. I'm gonna come up here and at this point in time, this guy is grouped together. I'm gonna ungroup it. Notice how when I ungrouped it, it basically made each thing its own image. See how it did that over here? So now everything is separate. And like I can, you know, I still have this close the eye for this one particular space here. And you notice how it closed it here too, because now everything's separate. Let me go grab something out. I'm gonna move this over here for now. I'll move this guy down here. Okay. I rarely use the base image whenever I'm playing with stuff, so I'm just going to get rid of this. I don't need it. Again, I can just turn it off or I can delete it. I'm just going to turn it off. Now, this is where contour comes in handy. Let's say I wanted to make like a name tag and I want it to be shaped like a bee. But in Cricut, when you go to cut this, these little black lines are cut lines. And the reason for that is notice how this little piece right here has all these little images that are, all these little shapes that are going to cut separately. These cut lines are guidelines for you to know where to glue each of those pieces. They're not obnoxious. They don't get in the way. They're just a guideline for you. But let's say I just wanted this to have like Sally across it, and I really don't need these cut lines. This is where we use contour. And I think contour is great in DS3. So I've clicked the image. If I don't, let me show you something. If I have nothing selected, then I also don't have the option of contour. Look down in the bottom right hand of the screen. I also don't have contour because it doesn't know what it wants me to work on. So I'm going to click on the B. I'm going to come down here to contour and click contour in the bottom right hand of the screen. Look at this. I love this. Because in the past, you would the image would just change and you'd have to go kind of finagle the image. You don't have to do that anymore. This is so awesome. Now, instead of me having to go in and try to get my cursor just exactly where it's supposed to be, you still can do it. Now I can go right here and I can select it and hide it this way. See how they're going away? They're like shadowing here. They're totally going away here. You see that? It's awesome. Also, let me bring them back. I can bring them back. Maybe I took one out I didn't mean to take out. And I can hide all contours. So watch what happens when I do that. It does it for me automatically, and I don't have to go through and click them all out. How cool is that?
That is awesome.
I hated in Design Space 2 having to go like, okay, I would have to zoom the image in, and I'd have to get it and hold it just in the right spot. That contour feature is the best. I love it.
And you could use that on the wings if you wanted the wings to be more solid.
Let's do it. I'm going to go to contour. So say I don't want this piece. I can come right over here and click it, Oh, is this got multiples? Look at that. It's all in here.
You can click it right on the picture also, too.
See? That's because Cricut makes everything where you can do it in all the different places. I could hide all the contours. And let's look at the image since I've hidden all the contours. Look. He looks funny.
Yeah, he does.
He looks like he lost something. Let's put it back. Okay. And I just arrowed back. That's my other favorite feature, arrow back. Just undo what you did. Okay. Love contour. Let's look at questions real quick. I'm going to scroll back a little bit. And I see, oh, I'm going way back. All right, I see where you put your link in. Tamitha put a link in. The question here is, Letitia Castro says, why is it so slow? Print and cut. Do you know why it's so bad?
I don't know that it's slow.
For me, it's not slow. It depends on if I'm in, it depends on my Wi-Fi for one thing. Because I'm going to tell you, when I'm at home, it's painfully slow, but I have the worst Wi-Fi at home. Okay. I don't have that problem here. So I don't know if that could be part of the issue is your connection. I just answered what contour does. Let's see. You see a question?
Nope. So I think Betty was asking about how much it is. Well, it's HSN is having 24 hours of crafts starting tonight at midnight or 11 Central, and they have flex pay. So if you don't have a lot of money, you can order it through flex pay, and that means they ship it to you right away. You pay for shipping and the flex pay, which I think it's only $5 shipping for everything you buy at Craft Day. Like you pay $5 once and then everything else is free shipping.
I just don't need you to tell me this stuff.
And then you can buy it on FlexPay, so you can do payments. It's not like layaway, like when you used to go and put money down, then once it's all paid, you get your product. You get your product right away, and then you finish paying for it.
Yep.
And Amazon Prime Day is coming up and may have some specials there too.
Shirley's creation said, I just did what you did and contour is not available. Are you in Design Space 3? Because if you're in 2, contour's up here in this bar. It's not at the bottom where I showed it.
And you have to have something selected.
Yeah, if I do this, it's not available to me either. Nothing is selected on my mat. I want to show you Slice. Slice is my favorite feature, and it's the most asked question feature I have because you just have to see something. Okay, so let me show you something. So I have selected this part of the wing, and I'm gonna hold down Shift on my no, I'm not. I'm gonna do this where you guys can see it. Nothing is selected, okay? So I'm gonna put my cursor in the top left corner, hold down my mouse, and drag. That's one way to pick them all up, okay? You can also do, let me close out of this. Now nothing is selected. You can also click Select All at the top up here in the top left if you want to select everything on your mat. But this will select everything. So even if I had something off here I couldn't see, maybe I'd moved it out of the way, it would select it. Now I want these wings to be centered over this bee. So I'm gonna come up here to Align, and I'm going to center them horizontally. And what it'll do, I know it's in the center of this bee. Now it's not where I want it vertically because I moved it all around. So I'm just gonna select it, and I like to use the arrow keys on my keyboard and just click it into place. And if I can't get it perfect, then I'll go back and use my actual mouse. Just like that. So see, I have it where I want it. Now what I'm going to show you is not practical. This is probably not what you'd want to do to this bee. I just want to show you how the slice feature works, okay? So I'm going to slice this shape out of the body of this bee. And the way I'm going to do it first is to select all on my mat because I want both images. Then I'm going to look down here at the bottom and see how slice is an option. There's lots of other options, but slice is an option. Let me show you, I'm going to do this just for fun. This is where I would say, don't do this, just watch me. That's what I do in class. So for fun, I'm going to, where is copy? Right here, duplicate, duh. I'm going to duplicate those wings just for a second, just for fun, okay? And I'm going to put it over here. If I do this, I have 3 images. I have the bee, I have the wings, and the wings. So if I select all of these, slice is not available to me because it can't slice more than 2 images at a time. The way I like to
interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Terrence over here said, remember, contour won't work if your image is grouped.
Oh, good.
It says contour is only available for single layer.
I never even thought about that. That is true.
I
In
didn't
my
think
head,
of
I
it.
just knew to do it.
Yeah, so when you're using contour, it's not available if your image is grouped.
So I'm going to delete this one. I just wanted to show you that when you have 3 images stacked on top of each other and you don't get sliced, that's why. I'm going to close this out. Here's how I like to think about slicing. This peach colored piece is like a cookie cutter, and the yellow piece is like my dough. Okay, so my dough is laid out. I'm going to select all of this and I'm going to slice it. So when I do, I now have to remove these to be able to see what I just cut. So I'm going to take my cookie cutter first. That's my cookie cutter, okay? But the dough I cut is still there. See it? So I had to move that away to be able to see what I ended up with. That's how I like to describe it, because like if you cut biscuits out, you put your cookie cutter in, you got to remove the biscuit shape and you're left with the dough behind it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how slice works. What I use slice for is like scissors. I know Mel does too. Let me do this. I'm going to close these out. I'm going to come over here to shapes because I love this feature. I can grab a shape. I'm going to grab this circle just for the heck of it. And let's say for some reason, I don't care for, I don't know, this leg. Maybe it's just too long or I just don't like it or whatever. I take something, a shape of any kind. I select both images and then I can slice and then I can just delete, 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 and I can edit images any way I want with my own shape scissors is what I call them.
Do you like cutting off insects' legs?
No, I don't really normally do that. I actually keep as far away from insects as I can, to be honest. I'm going to undo all I just did because he does look like I just injured him. So there we go. All right. So that was slicing like that. And then let's look for questions. I don't want to miss anything. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Is anything, let's see, Debbie Walker, anything new about sizing, print, then cut?
And Jamie answered that.
Oh, there it is. Cool.
Do you see it? Oh, Jamie says 6.25 by 8.75 is now the print and cut size for all browsers.
Perfect. Okay, so dun, dun, dun. That's all about print and cut. All right, so let's talk about welding. Because people ask me all the time, I'm going to ask you, Melody, why would I weld versus attach?
Well, it depends on your, if you take that star and you add a circle to it, and overlap them a little bit.
Let's see. We'll just overlap it right here. Okay.
Oh, yeah, just overlap it a little bit. Now, if you were to do attach, you're going to cut off that bottom corner of the star. It's still going to cut in 2 different pieces.
You see how the line is still there? It's not turning this into one shape when we attach. What it is doing is just telling the Cricut, when you go to cut, keep these guys where they're at, but cut their whole shapes. Does that make sense? Was that like that?
Yep.
All right.
But if you weld,
and I'm going to weld.
And if you look in the layers panel, it's one image now.
See that? So now, not only does Cricut know to cut this all together, it also knows not to cut through there and cut them apart because they're welded together. The other thing, and I should have done this, let me do this like this. To know if your weld is operating correctly, I'm going to grab just a square for a second. I'm going to attach it to this. Notice how the square's gray and then my B is yellow. When I weld them and they become one image, they're going to turn into one color. Mm-hmm. So I know this is welded.
They also do that when you attach.
They change colors?
Yeah, so because when you attach it, it attaches it to the same screen or the same mat.
Let's look. It does. But I still have that line. Yeah. Okay. I keep adding things to this poor bee. He looks terrible. All right. Let's do one more thing real quick. I'm going to go back and grab this nice clean bee because I've deleted some images and stuff like that from him. So I deleted some layers. So let's say I wanted to print this guy. I get questions about this all the time. At this point, I love this about the layers panel. See where I have all of these? Look what I have left. That little guy. Poor guy. All these have these little scissors right here. if you need to change this from a cut image to any other kind of image, if you click on the scissors, this layer attribute shoots out and you can change it from cut to write to score to print. So you can do this all right here. So if I change it to print, then what I've done, I'm gonna come out of here. I've only changed that one piece to print. Does that make sense? Like all these are still cut. So if I were to tell this to go right now, all it would do is print me this, and that's not what I want. It might be what you want, but in this instance, it's not. So I'm gonna undo that. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to click on this guy. I want you to watch what happens in the layers panel. I'm gonna flatten it. When I do that, you see it automatically turns into a print image and everything's together. So now when I print it, I get all the colors all together. Anything
and it will just cut out around the green part.
That's right. Let's go make it and look at it. See what it does? Now it's just one image. It's going to print, and then it's going to only cut this whole outer image, and it won't be a layer. So I think that's cool. A lot of people ask me about flatten. To unflatten it, you just click down here, unflatten. You have to select it first. You saw me select it. Then I'm going to unflatten it, and I can bring everything back. So let's say, for example, I didn't want this layer. I can close it, then flatten it. And I got rid of that other layer. That makes sense.
Right. And before you flatten it, you can also change the colors too.
True. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so let's say that this peach is just not my jam, and I come over here and I'm like, you know what? I want it to be orange. That looks terrible, but hey, it might be somebody's thing. So there's the orange, and then I can flatten all this guy, select it, flatten it, and now I've changed the color of the wings. So basically, if you're having, I keep doing baby shower. Gosh, I hope nobody in my family's having a baby that I don't know about, but unless it's a good thing. But maybe you were doing a baby shower and the colors were like pink, yellow, blue, and you wanted to make this be pink, yellow, and blue. You could do it that way. Mm-hmm. It's really cool what we can do in here. You guys, it's so hard to show you in this kind of setting because if we're more specific, like if you said, I want you to show me how to make such and such, I could just show you, and it's so easy to do, you know? It's just easy. Oh, here's something cool. I don't have enough images for that. Do it, a color sync. Nope. Let's do this. I'm going to get rid of this B. We've done enough with that B today. Let's grab a circle. Let's grab a triangle. And let's grab a square. All right, and so let's bring them over here. And let's say that, let's just do it real quick. I'm going to change one to this color and one to this color. Okay, let's say I brought all these images in and they were already this color, but I don't want them to cut on 3 different mats. I just need the shapes, and I don't care what color they are in Design Space. I can go to Color Sync, and check this out. We can just sync them all up. You can just click and drag them like this. So now they're all, that's just a quick little thing. The other thing I wanted to say, which somebody asked me this question, and it might sound crazy, but this makes sense to me. A lady said, she said, these are fine and good, but I don't want them to be gray. Okay. You have to remember that if you're printing, you can change the color, but if you're cutting an image, what's going to happen is whatever paper you put on your mat, that's the color you're going to get from your shape. Mm-hmm. So people get confused about that. It doesn't, like I could put Christmas pattern paper on my mat and get a circle. So that's what matters. We get that from what we put on the mat. Let's see. Any more questions?
Somebody else had a question about they don't know where pattern fill is. Ooh. Actually, they said somebody in my Design Space group asked about pattern. They don't know where the pattern fills are.
Okay, watch this. I've just clicked on the square. You got to have something selected. This is how I get there. Tell me if you do something different. I click here and I get my layers attributes to fly out. Then I click print. Okay, and then see this right here? Patterns. It only
right underneath the print button.
Yeah, it's not going to work unless you're printing, if that makes sense. So when I come here, then I click whatever image I want. We'll click this Motley Crue. This usually takes a long time, so I'm interested to see how long it takes today. Does this usually take a minute for you?
Yeah.
So there it is. Now, Melody, while I've got you, this comes in a tile. Can you see how there's another image starting there? You showed one time how to change that. Was it you?
Yep, click on it. Click on it in the layers panel.
In the layers panel, okay.
Like bring back up like the patterns again.
Okay.
Okay, now go down to the very bottom. You have edit.
Oh, I'm like scrolling. Hold on. Move this back. Go down here. Look at there. See, I didn't know this.
And then you can make it just a teeny bit bigger. You can also move it horizontally or vertically underneath there. So like if you want to scoot it over, you can do that.
Thomas has been saying lately that we keep cutting him out of pictures. So this is very ironic that he's the one on that side. Okay, I'm not going to keep doing it. But it does, yes, you can. Can I just grab it and move it? Yeah, no, I can't.
No, you can't.
And we can flip it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at, they're so cute. Okay, so we'll just do this. And then it's right where I want it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it, you did it with a heart on a video one time. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Here's your
pattern. You can do any shape. And put, you know what would be cute? I just thought of this. You know how they have the little people? What is that cartridge called with all the little people? It's really old and I loved it. Well, anyway, you get one of the little kids or the people and you put that on a shirt. Like you can change their t-shirt to a print and add a pattern to it.
That would be cute. I need to fix this because I did all of these. I'm going to flip this around. At Christmas, I made all of their PJs in Cricut.
Oh, cool.
They were so easy. Like, for example, this snowman, this basketball snowman, I just found a basketball image and I just stacked them on top of each other. And then I found a snowman that had arms I liked and I just took those arms, you know, like you can.
That's really clever.
You just piece it together. I found that top hat and stuck it on top. I made his face and then I just welded it all together.
Yeah, the paper dolls cartridge. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's right. And like Ginger Ninja, I made like, did I find? No, this was a gingerbread man and I couldn't find the image that looked like this. So I just did it myself. I just put candy. I did it myself, like welding.
Mm-hmm.
So super easy to do. All right. Let's see. I've had trouble lining up writing to print in the middle of my paper. Let's see. Let me get a shape. I think I know what she's talking about, and I don't know that I have a fix, but since you're here, let's see what we can do. So I'm going to pretend this is a card base. Let's just do it like, well, look, here's what's cool. I can come right up here now, and I can change the size from here. So let's say this is 4 wide by 5 1/4 tall. This is a card base, and I never work with them in gray. I always change them to white. I don't know. That's just a thing for me.
Me too. I don't like them in gray. They're too dark.
I'm sure they default to gray so we can find them, but it's just, ugh, you know. Let's put some text in. Here's one of my favorite features. So I'm going to type in Merry Christmas just because I was just looking at that picture. Also, Christmas in July on my channel this month. Okay. Merry Christmas. And if I want to change this font, why is that not? Here it is. Duh. God, it's right in front of my face. So look, this is what's cool. Now to change the fonts, instead of having to go like we used to go over in this top corner and blah, 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 look where they're at. All the fonts pop up and you can see a sample.
I love that.
The only thing I wish, and I was not even going to say this because I thought we're always so picky and we just want things handed to us. I'm this person too. The only thing I wish is that it would show me my statement here. You know, like I'm spoiled by that, but it doesn't matter. So let's say that I decide I want to do it.
But it does show you every single letter and the character.
Yes, it does, because the quick brown fox. And then if you see how whenever I go over it, it moves, watch. Well, that one's already there, but see how it moves so you can make sure you see it all? That's super cool. Let's say I want to make it to like ornaments. So let's click this. And look how fast that was. Seriously, you guys remember what we used to go through, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I want to show you, if we go back here, when you open it, opens all your fonts. But if you just want to see the fonts you have uploaded on your computer, you can click System, and it's going to show you your system fonts.
And these are always free.
The system fonts?
Yes.
Yeah, because they're yours. Then the Cricut fonts are here. And you can still see the prices over here. So if for some, and this happens in classes all the time, people will pick a font and go, oh, why is this charging me? And it's typically the font because we forget to look over here. But this one's in my access, so we're fine. But this one's $4.99, you know. All right, so let's go back here. Go to all. I'm going to show you what I think she's saying. So let's say I take this and I shrink it down. I'm going to hold down Shift and shrink it so it'll all stay the way it needs to be. Actually, let me do this because it's too big. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go right between Merry and Christmas and hit return. And then I'm going to go to alignment and hit center. So now it's center. You saw I did that quick. Then shift and make it smaller. I know it's hard to read, but let's say I want it to be right in here.
Zoom in your screen so it'll be bigger.
There we go. Okay, let me move it over. All right. So if I want this to be, if I want to center this with this bottom layer, I need to select it and then select the bottom underneath. Then I can come to align and I can do center horizontally and that'll center it there. And if I want to center it, I can do the same thing and come right down here and do center vertically and get it there. Or let me show you real quick without confusing you. I could have done all those with one step with this option. So I could, the best thing is whenever you go to center something or move something around, look at these pictures because you don't have to remember the titles. Just look at the picture and go, oh, I want it to look like that, or I want it to look like that. That's easier. Now, here's something I've noticed about things if you're having trouble getting stuff to line up. This cross, I call this a cross hair, but somebody probably calls it, I don't know, a cross bar or something. Let me move this out of the way. That's the center of this image. Sometimes letters that we use, the center is not the center to your eye. Have you noticed that, Melody?
Yeah. It doesn't look like the center to me sometimes.
Right. Because something like that isn't. I moved it out of the way. You can tell that, right? But sometimes there are some fonts, without taking forever to show you, but there's some fonts, especially monogram fonts. The center of them typically tends to be off. So I usually just put those in place by eye. That's how I do them. So if that helps any, it's just that sometimes that center is a little off. It actually worked in this one today, but sometimes it's not exactly the center. So maybe that helped answer her having trouble centering things. All right, let's see. Any questions that I missed? I know you're reading the chat and I'm just looking.
I'm
looking too. Oh, here's something cool while she's looking. See this advanced up here? If you click on advanced, you can ungroup the letters, which you still can do that. Like, see, now I have them individual. But that's one way to do it, but I'm going to undo it and see if it used to do this way. It probably still does. Can I still just double click it?
Yeah. You can change the...
No, it's not letting me. I used to could just double click a letter and move it out, but now you just use advanced and just tell it to, I can ungroup the lines, which is going to do the lines of text.
And I really like that a lot, to ungroup the lines.
Me too. I'm going to undo that. And then I'm going to click it again. Oh.
And show over in the layers panel how when it has multiple layers, it's always hidden.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is really cool because remember how I said I wanted this to like ornaments? If you look right here, it actually already has an ornament ring built in, but it was turned off. So I'm going to turn it on. So watch my font. Look what happened. Isn't that cute? So you have to watch that because you might have missed it and you might have spent time making that when it was already there. Because I probably would have made it and not realized it. And then look at this layer. I'll turn it on too. Look how cute that is. That's adorable. And that was already built in for us. So be sure to always check the little layers panel and make sure. You might need to do it to turn something off too.
Yeah. And we got a question, can you fade or brighten colors on a photo you upload? And you cannot.
You can.
I would suggest just do it beforehand in other software.
PicMonkey.
Photo editing software.
I use PicMonkey for everything. Everything. So.
Debbie Wilson is asking, where are my cartridges now?
Oh, her cartridges. Okay. So let me come out of here. I'm going to get this out of here. So let's say we want to go add an image. So go to images. And then if you come right here, see this? Cartridges. But I think, here it is, categories. Let me see if it's easier to find this way. This is what you do. You just look around, right?
Yep, that's the best way to learn. But I think
there should be a My Images, right?
There is. Click on cartridges.
Oh,
or click there and click on the word filter over to the top right.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
I'm going to sit still for a second. So I clicked on cartridges. I clicked filter and then My Cartridges. There you go.
So these are the
I don't have any.
Owns.
I don't have many that I actually own. I have the ones that
are also just image sets too.
Yeah, that's right. So there they are. And you can still look at the ones, you know, you can still filter. I love the filter. So, okay. The best thing to do tomorrow when this goes live, really, honestly, just play around. You can't mess anything up because, I mean, if you just have a clean project and you just play around with all these dudes, you really can't mess anything up. You know, just play around. I want to see. Is this where I can move these? It is. If I have multiples, I can grab this and move it to different places, can I?
Yes.
That's where I can make it be front and back, but I can also do it here on arrange. All right, so at this point, I just want to answer a few questions. So if you guys have any questions after we went through this, we'll answer a few and then we'll be done. I think this gives you a really good, quick overview look at Design Space 3 to kind of get you ready for tomorrow. And I know Melody has already got a bunch of videos out. She's going to have more coming. I know she'll do a lot more than me.
I've been doing every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I've been doing a live Design Space video. You
guys, go subscribe to Melody. I'm telling you, she is so good at, and with the lives, you can ask her questions, which is awesome. Because if you have any questions, you can get them answered right that second. All right. Any questions?
One thing about the attach and weld that we were talking about, and maybe they're asking, when they ask what's the difference of attach and weld, if you have letters, like if you have a word and you just want all the letters to be aligned up, if they were all separate is what I'm thinking. You know how sometimes people type and it's all ungrouped, and then you go to the mat and it's all screwed up?
Yeah.
Now, if they're not touching, you can attach those, or you can weld them and you will see no difference.
That's right. So I'm going to just grab that. Okay. If I weld, they're welded together. When I say go or when I say make it, they're where they should be. Okay. If I go back and I unweld, I'm going to undo. And then if I go down here, wait, did I not undo them? Do it twice. There we go. So if I go down here and let me do this. If I don't attach or weld them and I say go.
Well, they'll be fine because they're not ungrouped yet.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't ungroup anything. So hold on. Ungroup them. So now if I go, watch what'll happen. They're still there. It's just they're lined up. It's fine.
Well, sometimes, maybe because they're all circles, it just does that. But sometimes it screws them all up and they're not in the order that you want them in.
And because the reason it does that, somebody asked me, because it tries to save paper. It doesn't want to just put them all over your mat. You know, it's like the paper saver mode. You remember that from back in the day? All right. Yeah. I'm going to click on these. If I attach them, it's the same thing as welding them as far as that's concerned. I just tell people to do the one that makes sense in your brain.
Well, and welding, you cannot unweld unless you undo, but once you save it, you can't unweld it.
That is true.
So
you can unattach.
If you think you might want to change it, then just do attach. But if they're touching, you want to weld them.
Oh, I love what Margie Miller said. Remember what Maymay and Melody says. It's only paper. It's true.
Yeah.
True. I love it. Don't stress yourself over it. I love it. Oh, this is a good one. Lynn's on it. She said, it's not in capitals, but I'm going to say it. I once saw an area that had templates for t-shirts, cups, etc. Where is that now? Sorry, very new here. She's talking about Canvas.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
It's gone, but they're going to work on bringing it back. They had to completely rebuild Design Space from scratch. They didn't just add a few updates. They had to rebuild it from scratch. They worked long hours and worked really hard to get us what we want that will be the best software possible. So now that they're doing that, then they're going to start working on some more features and upgrades and adding more to it. They don't stop working on it.
The thing about Canvas that I want to tell people, because I never, ever used the Canvas.
I never used it either.
Never. And I'll show you why. Let's say I'm going to make a t-shirt, okay? If I went and got one of those Canvas t-shirts and laid it out on my mat, that doesn't mean it's the same size as the t-shirt I'm going to use. That doesn't give me the sizing I need, no matter what they were. It's not the same phone case maybe that I have or what have you. What I do is I go measure my shirt or my phone case and I see how much space I need to fill in. Then I come to here shapes and I grab a square and I go just like this. Okay, I want to fill in an 11 by 11 space. If I go 11, it does it for me by 11. And I know anything I build inside of here is going to fit on my shirt. So I make my own canvas, if that makes sense. I did this for all the Christmas shirts I did that I showed you guys in that picture a while ago. I never used that canvas feature because it wasn't like, so their apron is shaped like that. That doesn't mean my apron is shaped like that.
Right.
So don't be hooked on that. Just know how much space you need and make your own canvas. I really have never used the canvas feature. Never.
They're asking about the drag and drop.
Upload
a picture, you can drag it.
Do I have?
It's really just, you can either browse for it or just drag it onto your screen.
Oh, like from down here, like from your Finder? Like I'm not talking right now because I probably have some secret stamp sets sitting there that I don't need to show. But is that what you're saying? Just from like from my files area, just grab it and drop it in?
Well, I don't know how that works. To drag and drop, I always had to have it on my desktop. And then just drag it from that and then drop it in. But you just hold it down with your mouse key and just drop it in. It's nothing, you know.
But you do it in the upload area. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So upload image. Oh, yeah. So I can just go right here, open this, and have a file sit. I'm not going to open it because I swear I'll give something away. But if I had it open, I could just click and drag it in here.
Yeah. And you just let go of your mouse button and it's in there.
I'm old school. I'll probably just click browse.
I just click browse too. I think it's easier.
I'm just old school. It takes me a while to jump on these new things. I don't mind saying it. Which I was worried about Design Space 3 because I know how I am and I thought, I know this, but I've loved, like, the last class I did, which I'm really, I know a lot of people are probably not glad that tomorrow's the day, but I am, because I'm teaching classes, and so when I go to a class, half the students want DS3 and half want the old one, and I'm like, I feel bad teaching the old version because it's going to be gone, and the new version is so easy, so I'm glad we're going to be through with that.
Yeah, me too.
Is DS3 going to be easier for beginner than previous versions? I think so.
I think so.
Yeah. I think everything's more kind of in your face. Somebody said earlier, Lori did a great video on weld and attach yesterday. So go check out Lori Nunemaker and check out her video. Okay. The age-old question. And I love the controversial question. Is Cricut software easier to learn than the Silhouette software? I have to answer it this way. I've never used a Silhouette. Ever. I don't know anything about it, so I cannot answer that question.
Okay, I have. And I was just trying to compare the two. And it took me so long, so many videos, and so many questions to be able to do the simplest things with the Silhouette software. Now with Design Space, I learned all that on my own, and it just was easy for me. You want to add an image, you just click image and you just click it and bring it out there. You just drag it. It just was so much easier for me. The Silhouette software was very, very difficult for me to learn. Now, if you're a designer, like a graphic designer, and you went to college for that and you work with that kind of software, then maybe you'll like that better.
Yeah, I don't know. I will tell you that this was so interesting to me too. I had a lady who really struggled with Cricut Design Space. She could not wrap her brain around it. And what she did for a living was computer design. And I was like, how can you not wrap your brain around it? And you know, we finally came to the conclusion that it was too simple.
Yes. That is true. Some people are making it so much more difficult than it actually is.
Yeah. She literally said, I just can't do that. It was too easy for her. And everybody in the class was so shocked by that. But that person might need a more detailed software. And if that's the case, you know, go with what works. Somebody said their next purchase is the Scan and Cut 2. I saw that. Wait, where did I see it? Because I wanted to say, I like to answer or say this too. I know this is a Cricut video, but I'm going to tell you something. The Scan and Cut is apples and oranges to the Cricut. They are not the same machine. So I don't want anybody to think it's like another Cricut option. the scan and cut is oranges. And we're talking apples. It's really important I tell you that because I have them both, and I can tell you this in all, all assurances, they're different. So, Mel, how do they follow you? You already put it there. Her YouTube link is up in the
somebody asked how to follow me on YouTube.
And,
hey guys, follow me because I have 72,000 now, and I'm trying to catch up to Maymay. I want that plaque from YouTube with 100,000.
You guys, please help her get that. There was no more thrilling day in my life of YouTube. I want to clarify that. There have lots of thrilling days, but my YouTube life, I never imagined how emotional that would be for me, and I want all of my friends to get it. So if I've mentioned to my friends at any point in time, please go subscribe to them. Melody works so hard. I'm just going to say this. You guys don't even know the stuff behind the scenes Melody does. I can be totally lost and send her a message any time of the day, and she's going to do everything she can to help me get something figured out. And just for that, just go subscribe to her, whether you do Cricut or not. You don't have to watch the videos. Just go love on her a little bit. Let her know. And
you don't have to watch them. Just subscribe.
she might do a video that you're like, you know what? That's really cool. And that makes me want to learn that thing. So please do. Please do.
And Linda gave you a super chat of $10.
Linda, thank you so much. And she says, thank you, ladies, for a great DS3 intro. Love having my two favorite teachers in the same place. We like being in the same place, too. We play well together. Mel and I. If we had a report card, it would say, Amy and Mel play well together. That's funny. All right. There's a new machine yes. Sheila's talking about the brother. We'll talk about that another time because I'm probably going to buy that too, knowing me. Aren't we all like that?
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. I think we answered everything. Oh, Marsha Bird asked, what is that $10? I'm glad you asked because this is kind of a new thing. Now, anytime you're in a chat, in mine, in Melody's, anyone that's doing a live on YouTube, you have this option to do what's called a super chat. So you can give us a tip, basically, is what it's like. And so, like, that $10 will come to me and say thank you. And I guess, Melody, I need to send you 5. We need to share it.
No, it's okay. You can have it.
When I come down there, I'll buy you something nice. So, yeah, that's what the super chat is. So anytime you feel like you want to say a special thanks, including some money, you can do that on any live that you're on YouTube. All right. Don't worry. This video will be live for everyone. If you just came into the chat, you can come in later and you can watch it later. And that's it. Melody, thank you so much for doing this last minute with me.
Well, thank you for having me.
Melody's like, is anything I do with you ever not last minute? Can you ever schedule anything? No. I'm just like, hey, Mel, want to do a live today? Yes.
No, that was not how it went. You were talking about, you were thinking about going live. And I said, what time? And you weren't sure yet. And I said, well, do you want me to come in and help you? And I invited myself.
It would not have been the same without you. Trust me. I would rather. I always feel bad asking you because I feel like you're going, oh, you want me to come do your show for you? That's basically all
I enjoy this.
Me too. It's been fun. It's like we're in the same place together, so it's been fun. All right. I'm going to get ready to sign out, guys. We appreciate you so much, everybody watching us and supporting us. And if you don't mind, give us a thumbs up on my videos, and whenever you watch Melody's, just give us a thumbs up to let us know you like what we're doing. All right, Mel, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. We'll talk to you soon.